What I found in Section 13C is to understand that it was designed and intended to protect the bargaining rights of our nation's 200,000 bus drivers and other transit workers. It assures that the distribution of federal grants to local transit system doesn't harm transit workers, and that employee issues arising out of the provisions of federal assistance are properly addressed through collective bargaining. You know, it arose from the public takeover of private transit companies. You know, that's what happened. There's usually a reason why laws come about, and this is what happened. In its 30-year history, Section 13C has provided a remarkable measure of labor management stability in an industry that has experienced unprecedented growth and change. In urban, suburban, and rural communities alike, Section 13C has provided an effective system for transit systems to manage significant changes without harming employees. The last thing we all need are these constant problems in terms of transit.
As a result of 13C, transit districts cannot privatize their service. In fact, cost to comply with Section 13C is substantial. Let me give the members a few examples. Chicago Regional Transit Authority stated it would privatize its operation, but for 13C, it estimates that savings could be as high as 25 to 40%. In fact, according to an independent study, privatization would save the Chicago Regional Transit Authority $96.1 million in 1996. That's a lot of money even for this Congress, where we talk in terms of millions and billions. We received letters from over 14 transit districts, and I thank the transit districts because they're fighting for the riders as they should, and they fight for the riders. We have an obligation here to fight for them. The largest transit districts in the country, New York, Chicago, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, all support repeal. Citizens of Government Waste supports repeal.
Mr. Chairman, the cornerstone of this debate over 13C is the argument that repeal will somehow cut operating costs. Why do these cost cutters always want to take it out of the hide of labor? Why don't they look elsewhere than workers' paychecks? No, it seems to me that the Republican side always is consistent. Whenever there are sacrifices to be made, take it out of the hide of labor. Let labor take the hit. They don't go to capital to take cuts. They don't go to management to give up benefits. They go to workers. You give up. You shoulder the burden. This is wrong. This is the wrong approach.
There's 100 reasons why transit costs can go up to people across the country, and I don't think we need to lay that blame upon the worker. Section 13C of the Urban Mass Transportation Act of 1964 states that the federal government is going to provide monies to be used to acquire private transit companies and operate transit services that are in financial trouble. Such actions should in no way worsen the transit employee's position. This is what 13C is all about. Now, do I believe there needs to be reforms? If we want to talk about prices and we hear from the urban centers and the mayors about we need reform, that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to strike and replace and put some true reform in there that the unions also agreed that there should be reform. So, of course, I believe in reform. But the process of the House did not allow me or anyone else to offer a reform amendment.
The bill language does not change bargaining or collective bargaining or labor rights. It simply prevents labor from vetoing the funding of operating capital for transit districts. That's what we're trying to do, is to remove that veto power so that the transit districts can get their operating capital in a normal, standard, and timely manner. That is all we want to do, and 13C must be repealed to allow that to happen.
The fundamental point here is that in this budgetary climate, we have our head in the sand if we think we're going to be able to provide the funds that are necessary to support our transit properties across America. We've got to find ways for them to either raise fares, nobody wants to do that, cut service, nobody wants to do that, or cut costs. And one of the ways to cut costs is to eliminate 13C.
We know where the money is coming from that the Republicans are talking about in this proposal. The money is coming out of the paychecks of the hard-working transit workers. Make no mistake about it. By eliminating 13C, in essence what you're doing is eliminating the workers' right to collective bargain. So while you're talking all about how you're standing up for hardworking people, by eliminating the hardworking people's ability to collective bargain, their ability to stand up for themselves and earn a living wage, that's where you're getting your money. And it's not right. Mr. Speaker and ladies and gentlemen of the House, I urge a no vote on Wolf and a yes vote on the Coleman and Ney amendments.
This is a perfect example of labor protection that has run amok. We have, over 30 years, built a system that has cost the taxpayers, that has cost low-income riders, that has driven up the cost of mass transit to outrageous sums, and it's because of things like 13C that has pushed the envelope. And we've got to bring it back to some sort of reasonableness. This repeal of 13C, it only gives transit authorities the necessary flexibility to reduce operating expenses.
This bill not only repeals 13C, but it goes so far as to abrogate existing labor management agreements that were negotiated under the provision. The effect of this scheme will be to subject the hard-working men and women of the transit industry to the whims, fancies, and caprices of federally subsidized transit authorities. Stripped of their ability to bargain collectively, these workers and their families are truly being sold into slavery by this body. It is ironic that while the House expresses concern over human rights violations in China, at the very same time it appears willing to violate the rights of U.S. citizens employed in the transit industry. This must not be allowed to happen.
We need to end the veto power that labor holds over transit projects. 13C has been a gift to organized labor for far too long. 13C needs to be repealed. Let the local transit authorities manage the systems that they are in charge of and reject the Coleman Amendment. Thank you.
Now, I've heard a lot from the opposition about transportation authorities. They have a big list here, but no one has shown you and talked to you about transportation workers. I have over 1,000 signatures from transportation workers right here who are saying that they do not seek repeal of this.